Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of 100 Yards of Football Sports Talk Radio. I'm your host and producer, Logan Landers. And joining me today to talk about the NCAA legend, a guy who you may not have heard of, but if you haven't, sit down, buckle up, because this is going to be a heck of a ride. We're talking about James Street today, a quarterback by way of Texas. But he's more than just a tremendous football player. He also got it done on the baseball diamond as well. We're going to talk about all of that in just a moment. If you guys enjoy the episode, give us a like, follow, share, and subscribe on Facebook and YouTube. Also, go and download our podcast every single week. Helping me break down this guy this guy is going to be covering the baseball portion of his career. Help me out is my guy from the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network, Mr. Jay McLovin. Jay, say what's up to the people out there watching and listening, and tell them about the tremendous baseball career of James Street.
Yeah, it's amazing. First of all, it's good to be here as well. The guy was, a quarterback, a pitcher. I mean, they're all mechanical arm throwing things. So I can see the correlation that they're trying to make here. So the guy had a 29-8 record on the mound, two-time All-American from what I've seen. All Southwest Conference. 3 years in a row, and was with team's MVP every year since '68. I mean, that's a long time, Logan. This guy's been leading the league. His ERA was ridiculous in innings pitched. If you just look at how many strikeouts he's had and whatnot, I mean, I would tell you he's. I think he had I think he threw a no hitter in '69 versus SMU, and another one in 1970 versus Texas Tech. I mean. So, the guy's just incredible, Logan.
Yeah, I mean, he and also too, he got it done on the baseball diamond. A couple more things about him too. I looked over and saw him. Like I said, threw a perfect game as well. And the thing too, Jay, is we know pitchers back in the 60s and before that, they didn't really come out much. They pitched till their arms fell off. I mean, James Street threw 21 complete games for God's sake.
Yeah.
Also, if you just want a number for how dominant he was, like Jay mentioned, he had the impressive win-loss record, 29-8. But his career batting average opponents had against him, 198. I mean, that lets you know just how good he was at baseball. But now we're going to go over to football now. And talking about James Street, if you don't know much about him, born in Longview, Texas. In high school, lettered in football, baseball, basketball, as well as track. So multi-sport athlete, got it done. Not heavily recruited, however, came in around 5'11", 175. Jay, he came on to Texas in 1966 as the 7th string quarterback. They don't even go that deep anymore, I don't believe. So you are the 7th string quarterback, and let's talk about how he moved up the depth chart, and we'll get to his shining moment, we'll say, in just a moment. But like I said again, 7th string quarterback in 1966. Didn't play much in 67. 1968, he came in as a backup, just worked his way through the system, stayed around. But then, Jay, something funny that year happened, and also, he kind of changed the career of James Street. In 1968, Darrell Royal, Emory Bellard, they introduced the now infamous wishbone concept of plays. And so what was happening, right? And they were getting it going. Street took over at quarterback. Again, and they basically said, hey, you know what? You can't do much worse. Just go ahead and get in there. Just go ahead and replace Bill Bradley. See what you can do, right? So they scored 22 points in the third quarter with Street and that wishbone offense. They did lose that game, however. But Street got it done after that. From there, we're going to go. The thing, too, and it's hard to imagine this. Once he took over, after that one loss, Jay, that was it. That was it for him in terms of losing. Because they went 20 straight games with a W in that column. 20 straight. Of course, as we know, best game of his career, probably against Tennessee in the Cotton Bowl in '69. In that game, just alone, right?
Yeah.
He twice broke the school record for the longest touchdown pass in a bowl game. First off, he threw a 78-yard bomb to Cotton Spryer in the first quarter. Then he said, I got one more for you. 79-yard pass touchdown in the third. Ultimately, in that game, threw for over 200 yards and was named one of the best outstanding players throughout that game. So that was 68-69. Now let's go to, of course, that infamous game that we've talked about many times here on the show. 1969, Jay. Game of the century. Longhorns, perfect season, taking on the Arkansas Razorbacks. And my goodness, what a game it was, right? It was tremendous. Just got it done. Like I said, he ran for the big 42-yard touchdown that game. Also, big 4th and 3 moment. Gave the ball to Randy Peschel, which set him up for that ultimate game-winning touchdown, as we know how it all ended there, for much to the dismay of Razorback fans, right? But the Longhorns got the win after being down, Jay, 14-0. But they rattled off all 15 of their points, Jay, when it mattered most, and that is in the fourth quarter. Clutch gene for Mr. James Street. After that game, like you said, declared national champions by the president then, Mr. Richard Nixon, who was also in attendance for that game. And like I said, then in the 1970 Cotton Bowl, we're going to move ahead one more year now, led the Longhorns to a cover-behind win against Notre Dame at that point. And then, fourth quarter, down by a handful, game-winning touchdown. That also wasn't easy. He had to get through 2 fourth-down conversions. Texas won the game in that one in the 70 Cotton Bowl with 1:08 left on the clock. And President Lyndon Johnson was there, gave him the congratulations who attended the game. So I say all this to say this, right? James Street came into his career at Texas, multi-talented athlete, played a bunch of sports in high school, as I mentioned. Didn't have a lot of hype around him. Not a lot of fanfare. Like I said, he's the 7th string quarterback, for God's sake. But he paid his dues, right? He made it work, and ultimately he became undefeated. he won 20-0 and he never lost a game. And then also, like Jay mentioned, he got it done on the baseball diamond as well, which he was drafted. He was drafted, Jay. He was drafted by the Cleveland Indians at the time. He was drafted to a team, but he did ultimately get an injury in that 1970 College World Series in baseball. Because, like I said, he went there for he had 3 appearances in the College World Series. Like I said, ultimately was hurt there, and that was the end of his playing career. But it's been fun today, man. Looking at James Street, a guy who, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of guys out there, a lot of people don't know about this guy and just what he did and the talent he made great around him at quarterback and as a pitcher. And it's just been an absolute thrill, my friend, talking James Street with you about this living legend, you could say, at the University of Texas. Jay McLovin, I appreciate you coming on the show today, man. It's been an absolute pleasure talking about James Street out of Texas. And it's been an absolute pleasure, man. So once again, if you like the video, give us a like, follow, share, and subscribe. And we'll talk to you guys again on another